Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Okay, so I've got my gel plate out again today for our next hashtag Mixed Media March 25 project. And what I want to do is gel print on some junk mail envelopes. I have a ton of these, and I figured acrylic paint might be a good way to cover up the background. And I think as long as I keep a damp cloth handy, I can wipe the paint off the window so we can maintain the windows on these and transform them. So these envelopes started out life at 9.5 by 6. And since my junk journals tend to be 5.5 by 8, like the pages are 5.5 by 8 because I use US letter size paper folded in half, which is 8.5 by 11. That gives me 5.5 by 8 pages. I cut these down to 5.5 by 8. And I forgot to grab some paint colors, so let me go grab some paint. Okay, so I've grabbed the colors for the first one because I'm having paint choice paralysis. And let me grab my brayer. So this is my 8 by 10 plate. Off to the side, I have a 5 by 7 plate. For the first pull, I'm going to do the back of this envelope, and I'm going to use this Altenew butterfly stencil. And I'm going to use FolkArt Enamels Violet Pansy. Might be a little bit more than I need. Oh, look at that. It's already dry. That when you pull the paint up, you know the layer underneath is already dry. So, wow. I have a feeling we're going to be on the struggle bus today. Wow, that is just like really not a good coverage. All right, we're going to try this one more time, and we're going to put a lot on because this is drying really fast. Yeah, look at that. All right, I am going to put the butterfly on like this. I'm going to take a piece of crumpled up packing paper to pull off all the rest of the purple. And it's going to leave behind some texture so that our pull color should do some interesting things. I'm just going to make sure I get the details on the butterfly good. All right, we're going to take this off. And that's kind of cool. I will definitely be using that for something. And what I may do is I've got some scrap pieces of that packing material and just come in and try and get some more of the detail out of the butterfly. All right, we're gonna pull that up. I'm gonna use FolkArt Mint Aqua to pull this, which it needs a little bit more time to dry. So let's do some stuff. You know what? We're gonna swap this out, pull it over our little one, grab a stamp, do that. Let's grab a piece of paper, which of course I've got a dog who now wants out. Hold on, Bert, I'm coming. Water. I do have a dish of water off to the side. I think I'm just going to try pulling it straight up onto this piece of paper. And very little of it came up. All right, let's try pulling it with the green. It looks wet, but it's not wet enough to pull. Apparently it just looks wet. Ooh. But for the spot that I messed up by trying to pull it, that came out kind of cool. I like that color combo. I love that stamp. All right. Hopefully our butterfly is sufficiently dry. We won't mess it up when we add the green. Yep, I'd say she's dry. Like I want more paint. And I did all this because I was planning on putting the paint on my smaller plate before putting it on here, and okay, too late for that. All right, let's do that and grab the paper and see what we get. I did it on upside down. Possibly. I can actually adjust this so that it's not upside down. And I'm realizing what I should have done was put a base coat on first of a paint to cover up all of the writing. That did not come out as well as I had hoped. I'm gonna put some more of the mint on and clean the plate and have a bit of a think. Oh, that pulled up pretty darn good on here. Oh, all right. I think I need to go. First, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna put a coat of this one does not have a lot on the back, of course, and this one had a ton on the back. I think we need to go more abstract, and I think I'm gonna use other tapestry stamp. And so I'm gonna set this paper off to the side so I can stamp off on it, because what I'm gonna do is put a decent amount, because this stuff dries fairly quickly. Stamps definitely need to go into some water or you're gonna ruin your stamp because it'll get clogged with the paint. I'm gonna give that a second. Okay, not quite dry yet. Just gonna lightly tap over here to take off some of the very wet bits. That took off a little more than I planned, because I really want to just go ahead and put the green on. I have no patience. All right, let's put the mint aqua off to the side. Let's hope this will work better than the first one. Definitely need to go ahead and pull and see what we get. Ooh, that came out pretty good. I actually kind of like that. And that got me really good coverage. Got a little bit of the butterfly going on in there, but that's okay. I like that one. All right, so let's redo this. I don't necessarily want them all the same color. I think I'm gonna go with a dark teal and maybe use the same full color. I think that might be good. And I'm okay if some of the purple still shows through. All right, so I've got FolkArt Teal. My stamp's clean. I've grabbed FolkArt Teal because I want to go another dark color, the light Aqua for the pull. We're gonna give that a moment to dry. While I'm waiting, I'm gonna glue down the bits that are sticking up on this. All right, I think we're good. And I'm gonna do the mint again. And I do still have the cutoff pieces that I think might be used to create a hinge between these two pages so that they can go into a signature. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. Eek, making me nervous. Put that down there, and that guy down there, and a piece of crumpled up paper for the rest of it. Actually, let's do that there. And hopefully this will pull as well as the other one did. Or this envelope's gonna be my problem child envelope. Ooh, I like that. Let's pull these guys up. That is interesting, if not as much coverage as I would have liked. Let's hope we got good coverage over here. All right, more of the wording's covered up, but I still don't have like full coverage on this. But I think I'm gonna leave this as it is right now because we can always put like a focal image on there. Got some ideas for that. So we're gonna set that one aside. Let's see if we can lift some more up onto this guy. Put a little bit more paint on here. What I'm gonna do is put a little bit more of the teal down. Roll it out kind of haphazard and just kind of see what we can pick up just to kind of get these covered because you're not gonna see much of this. I just want it to coordinate better by pulling in the colors. So the back sides of these I'm gonna do in the purple. I managed to pull some of the aqua off of the... All right. Now, for the front, I think I'm gonna do the same colors. I'm gonna use the big stamp for this side. And then for this one, I'll do the small stamp on the front. Let's see how that goes. Of course, the big stamp's the one that's dirty right now, and the small stamp has run away. Okay, so instead of doing the front of this one, we're gonna do the front of this one because I'm doing the small stamp on the front where I did the large stamp on the back. And I'm again okay with the fact that this has got some mess on it that might get pulled up when we pull. All right. Put a decent amount of that on. Have something I can use to stamp, clean the stamp off onto at hand. I need a space like 5 times the size of what I'm working with for when I do this. All right, let's do it this way so we have less stamping we have to do, because when we start in the middle, it leaves stuff above and below. that then needs stamping. All right, I need to clean the stamps and this needs to dry. So I'm gonna go do that. And hopefully when we come back, we'll be able to pull it and it'll work. Okay, we are going to try pulling this. Fingers crossed. Not quite dry because I'm pulling up some of the teal, but that's okay. I just need to put way more of this on. Paint dries really fast here, which you wouldn't think it would because it's so stinking humid in Florida, but paint does not like cooperating with me. All right, we're gonna go here. We're gonna stick these down again, get more on them. I'm gonna pull over one of these pieces of paper so that I don't get my hands ridiculously dirty. Only slightly dirty. All right, let's see what we got. That did pretty good. Now I've got a wet wipe because I'm hoping I can preserve my window. I think I can. Just need to wipe all of this paint off, or most of it anyway. That actually worked really well. And it pretty much covered up all of the State Farm and everything. I am happy with that one. I'm setting this guy aside for a minute. Pull up this guy. And that one, oh, that looks really good. Let's see if we can pick some more up off onto this one. Okay, and we're gonna do the front on this one. Let me make sure I've got a clean, and that's just a wet wipe that the roll of wet wipes completely dried out. So I just spray it with water. All right, so I got the wet baby wipe at the ready. We're gonna go back to the purple and we're gonna use the big stamp. That pulled up dried teal paint from the piece I was cleaning it off onto. All right, that needs to dry. So I'm gonna give that a minute. I think I'm ready to test it. Fingers crossed. That looks good. All right, let me get my wet wipe so we can clean off our window. Okay, there's still some stuff on the opposite side, so I gotta clean the back of the window too now, because it's pulling up. All right, I'm gonna shift this over for a sec since I'm getting the back dirty, trying to clean the front. All right, the front of the window is clean. Let's flip it over and clean off the back. And I don't mind that I got some smush on the back. All right. And then just another wipe on the front. And I'm probably off to the side of the screen for that. Sorry about that. Okay. So I managed to clean off the front and the back, although there we go. We still have a nice clean window. Oh, I am so happy that this idea worked. It's gonna be such a great way to cover all those stinking envelopes I have. Oh, I love it. Okay, let me pull these guys up. That came out pretty good. Except for the spot that's most likely to show. Of course. Let me just press again along the seam. Because what I plan on doing is taking these two guys and using these strips on the inside to hinge them together. Now, one page I'm gonna make as a pocket page and the other I'm gonna make as a flip up. And I just need to decide which is gonna be which so we know what other jelly printing we need to do. So I'll be back. Okay, I decided this one's a little flimsier. Like, I noticed the placement of the pockets are a little different. This one's closer to the edge here, so there's less material on this side. So I think I'm gonna turn this into the pocket. So we only need to add gel printing to this section over here. So what I'm gonna use is, this is a Tim Holtz Sizzix die. I'm not all that worried about that. Trying to decide, I think I want something that's gonna contrast a little bit. I think I'm gonna put down some of the teal and go over it with light lavender. Have it set to pull the correct spot, so we're going to pull about there. That one is fairly, I think that's dry, because yeah, we're just going to go for it. Okay, well, that completely disappeared. Let's see if I can get some more ink in these spots that don't have any more paint, so that we at least cover up most of that plaid background. I've got some of the teal off to the side on my smaller plate. Let's see, is there any, is this still wet at all? Oof, that was not good. Okay, so not exactly what I had in mind, but we can probably glue that on or do some stamping once that's dry. Set that aside so it can finish drying completely. This one we're going to have be a flip up. So that means I'm probably going to put a tab down towards the bottom and you'll flip it up. So we need to do both sides. I'm just having a quick think of what I want to do. I think what I want to do is clean. Now let's do this side first. We're gonna do, I think, the teal and the light lavender again. And this time we're gonna grab some butterfly stencils. All right, so I've got the stencils out off to the side. We're gonna put down the teal. Some disaster area around me. I'm gonna have to do a major cleanup after this is done. Else up a bit. Nope. All right, let's grab one of the cleanup sheets we've been using. Go in and give that a good rub.
doing it slowly so I can go back in if I'm noticing I didn't pull enough from the areas in the stencil to really do a good job with the butterflies. All right, let's pull those off. All right. And I did it that way, and it's a good thing butterflies fly in all sorts of directions because we got to pull it this way. Because it's not long enough that way. So, yeah, not exactly oriented the way I probably would have done it if I was paying attention to the way my piece was going to have to be pulled. But that's all right. And I think we're dry enough. This one I'm going to do off to the side because it's kind of gloopy. All right, let's go ahead and stick that down. Ooh, I forgot to wet another wet wipe to clean it off. All right, well, it definitely added more color and interest, but isn't quite what I was hoping for. All right, I think I'm gonna clean up the plate and then we're gonna do the other side of it, which I think I want to leave as someplace that can be written on. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna not bother covering the other side of it so that I can put a piece of coffee dyed paper in. Maybe what I need to do is just brayer on some paint. Let's make sure the window's clean. And I'm gonna hit this with my heat gun. Ooh, okay. Be very careful if you're trying to heat gun an envelope because the windows are plastic and will buckle on you. Oh no. All right, we're just going to, now that that happened, peel away this window and replace it with a piece of vellum or something. Because, yeah, that didn't work at all. Whoopsies. Oi, this is, I so should have just stopped this video. Now I'm gonna come in since I mucked up the window and had to pull it out and see if I can get some more paint to cover along there. All right, I'm gonna set this aside, let it dry completely. I'm probably going to cut a piece of coffee dyed paper and just cover this section off camera. And what will seem like a few minutes for you and it's probably going to be like a week for me because it's Sunday evening and I'm about done for tonight. Ooh, look, I'm getting more of the plastic off. I am going to come back and we're going to finish this piece up. Okay, so we had a bit of a filming mishap and I did not film what I did for dealing with the fact that I accidentally melted the window and that I had a gap showing at the top when I glued this piece down. So let's recap. I went ahead and glued down a piece of coffee dyed paper and then I glued it down a little too low so the black line security stuff was showing at the top. So I just put a piece of fabric tape by 49 and mark it. I decided I wanted to add a vellum window to cover the melted window that I accidentally did for this guy. And what I did was I die cut out this shape using a Frantic stamper die, and it's a stitched rounded rectangle, so there are stitch marks that you can't really see. Lined it up with our hole, traced the shape of the hole so I could cut out the piece, glued the vellum to the back, and then glued this in place. And yes, there's a little bit of white showing, but I figured I can always cover that with decorations later on. And then I started adding our hinge so we could hinge our 2 pages together. And I pointed out, I realized after I glued this piece down that I wanted to glue the hinge underneath it and forgot. So what I decided to do was glue it on the back, and I glued it only along the edge and the top so it could be a tuck spot. And this is where I realized I wasn't filming. And so we've got another piece that's going to go to continue this down. So we're going to glue that down the edge and along the bottom here. And we're just going to stick that on. Line the 2 up and fold that back. And there we go. Oop! If we actually keep it in place long enough for the glue to catch. All right, well, now I know where the bottom line is, so let's try that again. And I also pointed out, I think, while I was filming this, that I'm having one of those days where I can't find anything and nothing seems to want to be cooperating. And yeah. Okay, so that's on. And then for this side, what we're gonna do is, because this is a pocket, glue this on the inside and just like glue it down flat. So I'm trying to decide what do I want. Let's trim the excess off so we know how far down we need to glue stuff. There we go. I'm gonna glue down anything sticking up. Okay. Then what we can do is fold these over. And then just flip this over and line it up. And then, okay, so we need to straighten up the top a little bit because it's overhanging our fold, and that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is just kind of nip in and trim that away so that we can fold this bag over like so. And then what we're going to do is glue this down along here and the bottom to create a side pocket. I'm going to do that on this piece. Now let's fold this over and reinforce that fold a little bit. And I've got it sticking up along here, so let's just add a little bit more glue. There. And let's run that down, get it nice and glued down. Do that to reinforce the fold. So this can then get sewn into a journal along here. Let's make sure we're not glued. And we've got a flip up to journaling and a side pocket. And I've got dogs I've got to go deal with. I've got an index card that just perfectly fits that we are going to decorate here in a minute after I deal with my dogs. Okay, so I'm back from helping my father do his taxes, and I noticed when I was trying to stick the card that we're going to decorate in, it was sticking. So right as I was going off camera, I kind of like pulled the bottom of this open so I can go in and glue that little bit that's sticking up and causing problems down. Make sure that's glued down well. It's not sticking down. Did I get any glue on there is the question. No, it does not look like I got glue. Okay, there we go. And I'm just making sure I'm not leaving any glue residue that something could potentially stick to. Make sure everything else is glued down in our pocket before we glue the bottom of the pocket closed. And of course my dog wants in because I just started filming again. Hold on, pal, I'll be right there. All right, and then we can run the glue along here and seal our pocket shut. He changed his mind. All right, so now our card should go in fairly easily. Yep, there we go. And it is sticking out a little bit. Let me just double check, make sure it's not because it's sticking on something. I can actually go in a little further. Yes, it can. Okay. So there we go. Let's pull that out. I think what I'm gonna do, and I just took an index card. I realized it would fit perfectly in the spot and covered it with a piece of book page. I am gonna round the corners on this because it'll make it a little easier going in and out of the pocket. And let's face it, if you're taking it in and out of the pocket, you're likely to bang up the corners on the side that's going into the pocket. Anyway, I want to do a little bit of stenciling on this to add a little bit more interest. And I've got an Aall Create stencil, and I'm just gonna stick it down and grab a brush. And I'm thinking, I've got cracked pistachio out on my desk, and I'm trying to decide if that's the color I want to use or if I want to use peacock feathers. Let's go peacock feathers. See how intense this is going to be. That should be all right, so that just added a little bit of interest to the background. I like that. And I did pull out some stuff to decorate with. And let's figure out where I put the stuff I pulled out to decorate with. Oh, here it is, right in front of my face. All right, so I've got a Tim Holtz person. And I want to make sure we put her kind of in line so she'll show on here. So I think, let's do this. Let's flip this in. And I'm gonna put a tab on it to make it easy to pull out. Get our positioning on our lady, which I want her kind of offset from the window. So that's where she's gonna go. Let's take her out and keep her there for now. I also got this is a digital from Graphic Fairy, I believe, which actually they have freebies. Like, this is a free digital on their website. I'll leave a link to their site down below. And I ironed some beeswax on it to give it kind of a this is so dark it's not translucent, but it does create an interesting effect. And we're going to give her wings. Whoops. And then I pulled out, I've got a bunch of labels from the Junk Journal Studio. And that's what's in there. That we're going to give her something to stand on, which she needs to stand on something first. And this one's from, I think it's Days Gone By, and that's what we're gonna have her stand on. But I want to add a little color to it, and I'm trying to decide. I think we're gonna use the cracked pistachio for that. So let's shift that whole thing over. Grab a scrap piece of paper, grab a brush, grab the Distress Oxide cracked pistachio. I like that better. I think it suits the project better. So she's going on like so. This guy's gonna go here so that she's standing on it. And I've got this label, which I didn't do a great job trimming off the edge on this one. Let's get rid of the rest of that white that's showing. I think I may have used my scan and cut for this one. I think that's how that's gonna go. And then I've got a couple small guys to go over here, and then we're gonna that, and then we're gonna add like a circle with the number on it, I think. So let's take her off, these out of the way, glue this piece to this piece like so. And then glue this whole piece down. And I'm using the words to line it up. On the page, so that made that a little bit easier. All right, let's finish with her. And what I'm gonna do is cut the butterfly apart. So that I can have more of the wing showing. So let's glue that wing on like there, because when it was close together, you were losing a lot of the detail on the bottom wing. And then glue this guy on over here. She'll go on like so, and hopefully, let's adjust that. I still have her in the correct position. Let's check before we glue her down. Oh yeah, I like that. Let's glue her down. I thought about putting some cheesecloth on this, but as it's going in and out of this pocket, and it's a snug pocket, I didn't want to add anything too bulky because I figured that would just cause problems down the line. And then let's see, where did I put what I want? And I'm going to use some Crafty by Tony stamps to stamp our number for our day. I'm just going to grab, I had a scrap piece of paper from doing this exact same thing yesterday. So let's grab that paper again, because I think I'm going to use the exact same stamps again. So let's find the circle. Use the itty bitty circle last time. This time, I'm going to use the Distress Oxide Peacock Feathers. So I got that. And today is 27. We're almost done. I'm going to be a little sad when the month is over, but also a little bit relieved. Because, yeah, I'm struggling for these last couple of videos that I haven't filmed yet. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know if I have enough ideas. All right, there's our 2. And let's grab the 7. There we go. And again, I find that a little too white, so I'm going to come in with my antique linen and just add a little bit to knock back the white. See, so I'm not really adding much color-wise. I'm just making it a little less bright white. We'll cut it out. I think that works perfectly there, covering up the 30 with 27. Had I done this on the 30th or for the 30th, then we could have just left it there without putting another number on. But there we go. Let's put our initials down at the bottom. And we got one more thing I want to do, and I'm going to take the piece we cut out, fold that over, but let me get out the punch first. Got a well tab punch. So let's see how much paper I need. Fold it over. Punch a tab. We're going to add the tab on here so that it will be easier to pull this in and out of the pocket. So let's just, which side do we like better? I think I like that side better. I mean, you'll still be able to see the other side, but I think I want this to be the top side. So we're going to add some glue. Put that on like so. Flip that over. And glue the whole thing down. And that'll go in. Like so. And then we've got the tab to help pull it out. And I'm probably going to do more decorating on this when it goes into the journal it's going to go into, but this will go in and it'll get sewn into the signature like this. And you'll have this page, which has our flip up with journaling space, and then this page, and they'll probably be separated. Like I wouldn't do this necessarily in the center of a signature, so they'll have other pages between them, and then this page where we have our windowed pocket, and then that page on the back there. Since that's got our number on it, I'll go like that for our closing shot here. So there we go, day number 27. And that's all for today. So if you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.